One small request, whoever is not speaking, please put the mic on the mute.
Yeah, maybe one mic is putting. Sudarshanji's mic is
Okay.
having some issue.
Live.
Yeah, please go on. Let's start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from Indian Chamber of Commerce and Culture, Slovakia, and our associate partner for this event, Policy Times. We are now at the second session of Business and Beyond, wherein today we shall today have a set of eminent speakers from the healthcare industry as well as the allied industry of healthcare, which includes pharma or OTC or nutraceuticals or stem cell research and health tech. And today we shall learn a lot about the new innovations in this regard. So over to you, Mr. Akram.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sumnitji, for spearheading, guiding, and putting all your energy to organize this wonderful series of webinars by Indian Chamber of Commerce and Culture based in Slovakia and the Policy Times. Again, the people who are behind is Rakesh sir, leading from the front from Slovakia, Europe, and Dr. P. Shekhar, Chairman of Unleashing India Global Smart City Panel. Before I come to them to formally introduce, let me take you through a little background about the program and also about the Policy Times. Policy Times is India-based media cum strategic think tank, which is trying to promote policy advocacy. So development and nation building are the core objectives behind every work that we do. Now, the topics that we have chosen today, business and beyond this series, is the healthcare and pharma and artificial intelligence, as I see both topics together. They both are different, but having huge importance. Healthcare, there is no doubt in the fact that it is one of the angel sectors or always green sector. During COVID, this healthcare and food are the sectors which have seen exponential growth, healthcare being at the forefront. Now, India is the pharma capital of the world, providing pharma products, exporting and delivering pharma products and solutions to the whole world. Now, this story is not over yet. It is becoming all the more important with the advance of R&D, because India's R&D infrastructure in the pharma sector and healthcare is growing up. India's private healthcare system is also advancing very fast, which also gives an immense possibility of Indian players to play a key role globally. And artificial intelligence is no doubt, this is the century of artificial intelligence. Within artificial intelligence, we are going to see a lot of disruption. So what we mean to say, the objective behind organizing this series of program is how can we explore, I talked about India, similar opportunities are there in Europe. Europe is again becoming a center of all this advanced engineering and technology. Now, Rakeshji's mission, vision is how can we collaborate and connect these two countries and regions in such a way that South Asia and Europe can work together, because they two are completely diverse and completely different regions of the world, having huge complementary benefits and things to explore. And this actually is what we are going to explore today. I will not take further time. Let me introduce Dr. P. Shekhar, who is the chairman of this session, also moderator, and who has been since last more than 3 decades doing exceptional work, selfless work for nation building, for various works. There are, like Policy Times, there are perhaps hundreds of such startups and hundreds of such emerging platforms or associations that he has been guiding. And today we will have again the opportunity and honor to have him. And Rakesh is he needs no introduction. So with this, I will hand over to Dr. Shekhar to take this discussion forward.
Thank you, Akram. Thank you, Sumnit. Very nice to have Rakesh, as usual. Very bullish, very buoyant, and very innovative in whatever this group of these three intellectuals do. Now, they also coined this word, and also I heard that Madhumita was somewhere instrumental in coining this word, business and beyond. Now, as we all know, whatever we do, business is the one which is going to really pay for it. Even if you do social work and people say CSR budget, CSR has to come from somewhere, somebody's business profit, we are translating into a CSR budget. So same way, business is something which is a hardcore item, which has to grow, which has taken a very, very big beating during this COVID era, and which has to be completely revived, completely reincarnated, completely brought back. So what I will do, I'll just make a small presentation. This will take you about 10, 15 minutes on this particular topic on business and beyond for healthcare and healthcare with artificial intelligence. Just half a minute. Yeah. So during this particular period, like Akram said, so many things have come in front. Okay. Now, as we all know, whatever COVID did, but COVID has brought all of us together. COVID has done what we call as a World War III, and it has mercilessly beaten everything to pulp without a single bullet being fired. It is becoming bigger than the World War. World War usually end in 15 days, 1 month, things like that. This is going on for the last 1.5 years. And it has done nothing. In a way, the whole COVID put together is supposed to be 1 gram white. And anywhere in the world, it has not crossed maybe 1%, 2% affected. And that too 98% recovered. And how it has done, what it has done, we do not know. But people like us have to go forward. People like us have a lot of things to do. We have to contribute. We have to take the world in the stride, and we have to take it forward. Now, since this topic is India along with European Union, EU, and how we can contribute to world's growth, how this particular sector of healthcare along with artificial intelligence and other associated fields can play a role. Now, if you have to understand European Union, I'm specifically bringing few parameters. It is 445 million people with 27 countries. Okay. And remember, they are 22 million square kilometer area. Just all things are something. I'll come to India in another 2 slides later. As you know, European Union consists of these 27 countries. If you see, almost 20 of them are less than 20 million population. And India's growth per annum is 20 million. That means every year, India produces almost 20 European Union countries. So there's a vast difference. Now comes to India. Now, where we saw 445 million, India's population is 1.4 billion, almost 3 times, more than 3 times. Whereas area is only 3 square kilometers, there it was 22 square kilometers, 22 million square kilometers. So there's a vast difference in the two areas and population. Population-wise, we are almost 3 times. Area-wise, they are almost 8 times. So that being the case, we have a lot of things where we can do things together. Okay. So India at a glance, there will be so many other parameters. I will not go into detail. One small parameter which I will bring it to the audience is India is almost like putting 206 countries put together. Okay, just all facts and figures are of different grade. Now, as I said, COVID has come. COVID seems to have gone. COVID may come back again. As far as any intellectual is concerned, COVID should be treated as one more, fever, one more big fever. If you can come across, cancer and heart diseases and lung diseases, I don't think we should have so much concern. But yes, since it has done huge damage, it is up to us people to take care. Now, next many slides, what I will do, I will give a very brief, I will not go anywhere slide by slide because I want to give maximum time to the speakers. So I'll finish the whole thing within the next 8-9 minutes. Okay. Now, this is something where everybody knows that economy grows by various parameters which have to play a concurrent role. Many things cannot be left, unattended. Okay. And second, when we talk of Indo-Europe has got a huge everlasting relationship, and it has got a historical relationship even with countries like Greece and other old civilizations. But India continued to have a good civilization for the last 10,000 years, and it has only consolidated. And between India and Europe, I have also captured some of the financial figures. So this population I did mention when I was talking. And bilateral trade is today worth anywhere in the region of $80 to $100 billion. And India is almost 10th partner in with Europe, which we should be number one from various considerations. Even so many people from Europe talk to me, they would look at India as a prime partner, especially with the way things are happening with our great country called China. So India would be the prime partner which people are looking forward, and looking forward in various sectors of economy. It is not only a thing, and healthcare will take a big lead. I am coming to healthcare in another few slides later. So these are the various figures in terms of fund flow between the two countries: FDI flow inward, FDI flow outward, export to this, and even in pharma, how much India is exporting, how much India is importing. Same way on healthcare, how much in pharma India is exporting more than importing. In healthcare, India is importing more than exporting. And these are few things which will be in that particular way only. We can't have all synergies in equal terms, because there are a few things which are far good in Europe, which they will take the lead. There are a few things which are India is good, where India has to take the lead. Since this is an artificial intelligence, AI is going to play a very big role, whichever field you are. Today, even a simple thing like cooking to a sports to a simple sleeping methodology, AI will play a role. Obviously, healthcare is far important field, and artificial intelligence will play a great role, because anything to do with medicine, anything to do with health, anything to do with various symptoms of health, artificial intelligence is there and will be playing a role. As far as numbers are concerned, again, it is growing by the hour in terms of right from $22 billion market in AI to it may go to almost zero in under for 10 years time. Okay, so I will not go to all. Robo is also going to play a very big role when we talk artificial intelligence. Naturally, I had to put some slides on robots, because even robo in terms of healthcare, somebody is not well, some medicine has to be reach it quickly. Okay, so that we don't have to worry about traffic jams and so on and so forth. So which is happening already, it is happening, and it will get more consolidated as we grow further. Future of Indian Syrian artificial intelligence. Yes, artificial intelligence, India would very well collaborate, very well do. There are a few things India is already doing, like he pointed out in terms of the research, but there are many more things which are there to be done. And just for information, yes, we are ourselves involved in many such projects in which we are encouraging countries to country collaboration. So these are few things which are done by EU countries when India did have a little bit deeper trouble during COVID. And India has contributed a lot and also gained a lot. What are the two differences? Because there are many in Europe, who have taken Ayurveda, yoga in a big way. I know few cases where there are people who say they are alive because of Ayurveda, because they were left to, this thing by normal medicines. And there are others who have taken yoga in a big way. Yoga itself is a $80 billion industry, $80 billion, very big. And that is also going very deep. These are few contributions from India, which will be consolidated as we go, as the time goes. Medical tourism is another thing which is in a very big way growing between India and USA, because in India and Europe, because many places I heard in Europe, you have a heart problem, yes, please come after 3 months. We'll have time after that. In India, you can have it better quality service at a much lower time of waiting. So these are all things which will make India and Europe into a very good, sustained, long-term relationship for healthcare, for artificial intelligence. And while talking of all these things, let me also tell you that, in all these things, funds are required in a very big way. And those funds are available through various sources. This one slide, we may have to spend half a second more. That, by this, we are saying by this collaboration between India and Europe, we believe that there will be huge amount of investment, huge amount of export between both the countries on same basis. And more than anything, there will be huge employment. We are expecting almost 17 million people to be employed between the two countries by proper collaboration between the two countries. And in all this thing, there is a system called secure governance, which is for self-sustained growth of economy. where money put in will have 100% guarantee of giving results to the investors, which is being used, which will be used in the industry. In all this thing, I have written a lot of books, which I will not talk much. Now, let me come to today's speakers. We have got 4 eminent speakers today. Madhumita, she is going to be the first speaker. And she is somebody who is, like I said, even the series name was credit goes to her as per Sumnit. So she is a professional of over 20 years experience and built and launched many mega brands. So in pharma, for a lady to be in that particular bracket is something really creditable. We'll have a lot of things to learn from her. And let me start with inviting Madhumita to have her. All of you, I would like to request that please keep your talk for 15 minutes so that we have enough time for question and answer sessions and other things, because we would not like to restrict anybody's freedom to talk. So if we can have a self-limit of 15 minutes, it'll be good for all of us. Madhumita, please.
Thank you, Doctor. Let me first thank the Indian Chamber of Commerce of Slovakia, Sumit, Mr. Rakesh, for giving me this opportunity to talk today. And evolution of healthcare, of course, is a very, very passionate topic, given that out of my 20 years, the last 13 to 14 years, I've been with healthcare. And thank you, Dr. Shekhar, for introducing me and all the August speaker there. It's a great pleasure to be here. In terms of my journey in the healthcare industry, I actually started off from the campus on FMCG. I have worked with companies like Kodak and Raymond's and a few media companies like Sony. Post which I think Pfizer happened, and Pfizer happened for almost 10 to 11 years. Post which a brief where I used to head their flagship brands as a business, which contributed to almost 46% business of Pfizer India, and had all the household names in the healthcare, which is Yobicosul, Corex, Gelusil, and a host of other brands, a division of almost 7.5 billion INR that I used to head. Post which, of course, a brief stint in Torrent, and then Dr. Reddy's, where I headed their global markets for OTC, especially looking after markets of CIS, Romania, ASEAN countries, and a part of LATAM. That's been my background. And in all of this, I think what was very, very critical learning is that at one time, the healthcare industry, I think I joined them in some 2006, 2007. There was a lot of product centricity, and coming from FMCG, what was very critical for me to understand was the trends that was happening in the industry, because most of these products that were handed over to me, say your Benadryl, Listerine, Gelusil, Bicusul, all of that were in double digit. The CAGR was degrowing, and how do you kind of turn around the volumes of these mature brands was a huge challenge that was happening. I think from there, I did learn that the insight-based marketing and sales that you do, especially for the consumer industry, is what is helpful in the pharma industry. And that is something like a new introduce, because most of the pharma industry, including the likes of Pfizer, I always thought was very product centric. Here is an IP product, here is a product, it's great, and my consumer is going to accept that. But the transition in the healthcare industry that you saw in this decade was talking something else. And I just want to briefly take you through the slides that I want to present. So Dr. Shekhar, if I don't stick to my time, you have to, something you have to do about it.
Oh, no, it's all okay. No, we have enough buffer time.
Yeah, 1 second. There is, just give me a minute. I'm not getting the right file. Sorry for the delay, gentlemen, ladies. 1 sec. I may not even get it. Is it visible?
Yes, we can see it. We can see fully. Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
So the slides are just a token. I might just speak from my experience. The event and evolution of healthcare in the last decade or so has been like this, especially in India, of course. I would imagine that it was a little late of the beginning of wellness. In the developed countries, the event would have still happened. But what you saw in 2006, 2007 was the evolution of a holistic pattern where consumers or the patients were not looking at illness and they were actually looking at wellness. When I say that, and this is, I don't make that statement just out of the hat. There's been an immense amount of research that one has done with Cantor, Ipsos, etc., to understand these trends. Just to give you an example, Gelusil, for example, would speak something like a fast-acting antacid. So every time you have a khatti dakar, which is the burping or an acidity, you have Gelusil, and it is going to solve your problem. What the consumer was asking at that time is a medicine which is like an ally or a friend, because the consumer was aspirational with the advent of course, a lot of digital health, digital advent. They were aspirational. They wanted to achieve in life. They wanted to live their life. There was transition which was happening between the Gen X and the millennial, and wellness was a pattern that was emerging. Secondly, in the 1990s, 80s, the pattern was having a prescription, which is more in the problem solution realm, to the transition happening to self-medication because of the information that is available. Doctor, of course, was the sole source for almost generations. You have multiple sources today, and as I go along the presentation, what I mean by multiple source and how this multiple source really influence the consumer is something which I'll talk about. Consumers were transiting from saying Dr. Saab to Dr. Google Saab, because Dr. Google actually emerged as a bigger doctor than the Dr. Saab. No disrespect to any doctor anywhere. Their importance in the healthcare is, of course, not demeaned, but that's how the consumer saw it. And when I was talking about it, I remember to some of the fellows in Pfizer, I think it was 2009, and people almost thought I was crazy, but that was an emerging trend. The pharmacy is fast transiting into e-commerce thanks to the pandemic. General medicines to customized medicines is what the consumer is looking for. We used to have blockbuster brands. So you look at Adaigi and Gelusil, they're all blockbuster brands. To today, with the advent of consumers, I think a lot of the startups have really come out with a lot of brands, especially in the nutraceutical space, in the e-commerce. So I just put in a set of research slides there to just show the trends and give the backup for what I'm speaking. So if you look at the slide, it says 43% of the consumers say that internet is the first source they do go to, and that is true. Even after the doctor has prescribed you, they do a lot of what you call in the chemistry laboratory as confirmatory test with Dr. Google. If you look at the source, which is the Statistica data, almost 49%, especially for self-medication and nutraceutical purchases, have moved online from pharmaceuticals. And if you look at the influencer slide, while doctors are, yes, but the social animal that we are emerging to be and being a part of the global population, you will see, apart from the doctor, you have the paramedics, you have this whole lot of ecosystem who are working towards influencing your choice of pharmaceuticals product, and then specifically when it comes to self-medication. But onco is also not far off. I was meeting a patient who was a cancer patient who's doing immense amount of research to understand what she is taking, if she's right or not. In fact, she was saying that some of the medication I was suggesting to my oncologist, it is unheard of, especially when you're suffering from cancer. What all this cued into is the emergence of a very proactive consumer patient. And consumer mindsets are very different. This is just a slide to say that consumer segments, for every consumer segment, you have to have a different stroke. So you have people who are very proactive, people who are balanced, people who are doing juggling of priorities. Healthcare is not a priority. How to reach out to them? A product or a brand has to find out many more ways. Also, to reach out to this consumer, industry is extremely, what do you call it? Uh, Extremely complicated. It's about not only engaging the patient or the consumer who is the sufferer, but also going and influencing this entire customers who are going to cater to their demand or resolve their problems. So you have the doctors. When I was talking about multiple stakeholders that are emerging, you have the dietitian, the paramedics, the retailer, everybody kind of influencing the patient apart from the digital. We have emerging channel, which is the demand fulfillment part of it. You have online channel, chain, supermarkets, and stockists. My only submission to the people who are joining into me or the companies that I have been to, that if we really want to be patient-centric, we need to be there and really targeting all of them individually with different offerings. Of course, we did leapfrog to digital, and there is a rise of on-demand healthcare. There's importance of big data in healthcare. Treating patient virtually is a reality. I mean, during the pandemic, unfortunately, my father had a stroke and a little paralytic attack. But that is one time that we went to this big corporate hospital. Post that, the doctors are doing everything virtually. The doctors, I mean, I was never very sure that he can do something like that, given his age, but he's adopting to the virtual reality. The doctor himself is 55 and above, and I can see that he's adopting very fast to the technology. Similarly, there are wearable medicines and devices, and I think on this, I would rely on Rupam, because I just saw his profile of LiPass, and I think he's the best to talk about it. A digital transformation, of course, is being the building block of the patient-focused approach to healthcare. It is streamlining operations. It is looking at the big data. It is building a lot of trust and loyalty, because the touch points of the patient has really become very personalized. The other day I was attending a conference and I was talking to somebody, and somebody said, you know, in digital era, they have made a lot of gap between the people. We are not having the human touch. Yes, we are not having the human touch, but the frequency of touch has definitely gone up. And when you have frequency of touch and the patient knows, you know, that you can approach the doctor or anybody who is needed in the entire healthcare system with the touch of a button, the confidence that is built is much more. The healthcare industry is focusing on the patient-centric engagement with artificial intelligence. In the nutraceutical company, which I'm working now, which is Esperer, which is completely backed up by DRL, and they have huge investments in it. We have a proprietary research called as DINI Axis. And when we talk about proprietary research, which is DINI Axis, it's a patented this thing, and the entire thought is how do we take it to the patient, because the patient doesn't know that my nutraceutical is going to take care of your DINI axis, and therefore you will achieve a certain kind of homeostasis, and your non-communicable diseases will be under control and managed. And therefore, right now we are working on something called as the DINI Axis score, which means that we are going to screen a whole lot of thousands of patients to understand what is their dietary infection and nutrition immunity axis, work with the IIT scientists to come up with algorithm so that we can formulate a DINI scorecard, which may be something, a reality in future, which can be administered to the patient and the patient takes control. But however, having managed the healthcare system, and in fact, you know, when the pandemic struck, I was in DRL and I was looking after the CIS country, the transformation that is needed to leapfrog into digital is about taking bold steps, is actually about having consumer-centric focus, because still, if you talk to most of the pharma industry and the veterans, they would say, oh, here is a product, why is it not selling? Here is a product which is made for the consumer, whose emerging needs are taken care, and it is not selling. Is a better adoptive quote rather than this. Shift to preventive and outcome-based models are a reality. Digital and technological enablers are available everywhere. There has been the advent of people like DocPlexus and Curofry, so that we reach to the healthcare professionals very fast. We have this entire social media marketing where we can, the communities out there who are talking about very advanced medicines for advanced diseases. So this is something which we really need to adopt. And I think patient centricity is something which is going to be very key when it comes to the emergence of the healthcare industry. So uh, focusing on the patient insights, and every pharma organization needs to internalize this, understanding their journey. When I talk about a consumer journey, which is a very important journey, I just want to give that one example. Say if you're suffering from a dermatological problem like an acne, we feel that the dermatologist is the ultimate where we need to actually uh, present the product to. But they don't understand that before the patient goes to the dermatologist, she has already gone through 6 or 7 other stakeholders who are very important to understand in the journey and very important to be tapped. So she first goes to do some home remedies, then she does something which is present at home, then she might take a recommendation from the retailer, she might go to a beauty parlor nearby, she might go to one of those high-end beauty parlors nearby, high-end spa, before she goes to a dermatologist. So this is a journey which the FMCG industry understands very well. So if you see, even professional products of L'Oreal will be there in these kind of this thing, apart from the dermatologist. But this is something we also need to adopt in the pharma industry, understanding that how we are going to reach the patient through all these channels, which are actually non-pharma. Also understanding the stakeholders' need in the ecosystem. So the paramedics are a great source of recommending you a lot of products. For example, when a women possibly get discharged and she discharged after a child delivery, it is the nurse and the paramedics who tell you, कि ये वाला drink ले लेना, it is good for you. So they are very, very important in the system too. Engaging the stakeholder at every point so that the reach of the product is faster, they understand it, and they have given the right medication. For example, I do huge amount of training program for the retailers in many products. I have done it for many complicated products. So we understand that there are ad boards and CMEs which are happening for HCP, but I've actually done CMEs for like 40,000, 50,000 retailer at one go to just make him understand, like even a simple product like Bicosol, how it is to be administered, which is the patient that they need to give to, which is very, very important. Personalized patient-centric product is important. Just to quote from my recent company, which is into nutraceuticals, basically. We are into non-communicable diseases. Agar aap aaj jate ho, you go there and talk about diabetes, the doctor will give you a metformin, and then you are asking for a vitamin, he will say, ha, kuch le lena, some A to Z or some kind of a medication. But what is important, given the emergence of NCDs in this country, and almost, I think, I saw the quote somewhere, which is about 5.8 million people dying of NCDs. It is very important that you have a personalized nutrition for it. The other thing that is really need to evolve, and possibly digital has increased the access, is the infrastructure. If you look at most of the companies, the infrastructure is Metro 1, Metro, Class 1, Class 2. The lower pop strata actually doesn't have that. Go to a village, they have to walk so much distance to get this thing, to get a medication. Is digital may be the best way to transform that. The other thing is India and many other countries here are adopting new technologies and innovation very fast. And the government policies or the companies should be cognizant of the fact that they need to be brought very, very fast. Access to convenience and newer channels, adopting newer model of payments. Yeah, insurance is there, but a lot of tie-ups, etc., is needed when it comes to payments. Of course, now the bigger piece, which is digital adoption. The digital adoption has to be taken wholeheartedly. In fact, I was reading somewhere, and I don't know whether I read the figures wrong because I closed the site. It says even in the US, the adoption of digital during by the other industries is to the tune of 15 to 20%, whereas the healthcare industry is 7%. I just don't want to quote this figure, and that's very sad. I mean, digital adoption is extremely important. For that, I think a faster communication with HCP and patient is very important. Dissemination of information will happen very fast, and the trust level of the patients go high. The support level of the patients go very high. So adopting a very holistic, also the other thing is with digital, it is not about just giving the patient a product and just leaving it there. With digital, the patient service levels can actually go up, and they really should feel supported. For example, it's a new launch that we are doing with a product called as Norma. After the patients are given this product, we've already said that this is the call number, and they need to say that they have bought this. And post that, we are trying to set up an entire call center of dietitians to help them out, to support them in the ailment that they are there. So today, even a nutraceutical, if they give a post offer service, is something which is very important, and this can be really leapfrogged with digital adoption. The good news, however, is that the healthcare system has started thinking disruptive, though we are still not there, and they're reaching out to these stakeholders, but that is thanks to the pandemic. I think everybody here is from the healthcare industry, and let's kind of make some blitzkrieg efforts towards to adopting AI, to adopting digital, to adopting newer methods of reaching out to this patient. Let's think patient. So that's about it, Doctor. That's from my side. Thank you very much for the patient listening.
Thank you. Thank you. So nice to hear. So nice to know that, Madhumita, you have done wonderful work in generally a male-dominated area. And we feel it is very nice that, you had 20 years of good, and you could bring it down in this 15 minutes to 20 years experience. Thank you so much. Let us have the next speaker. She is Dr. Subhadra Davida. Now, she herself is an entrepreneur. She herself is an innovator. She heads a company called Transtel Biologics, and she has a lot of things to share. Again, Dr. Subhadra, your time starts now. Please, 15 minutes to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shekhar. And Samnit, I must appreciate this opportunity given to me. I know I'm the odd one in this August gathering, but then, I'm very proud to share with you all that I happen to be a hardcore experimentalist turned entrepreneur, and I'm one of the lucky CEOs who has the freedom to work in the labs as well as manage the business. So it's actually great to be here and then get invited. So yesterday when I asked Samnit, how long would I get this opportunity to just share my experience, then he said maybe up to 15 minutes. So I started making the presentation, and then while I was making the presentation, I had some thoughts, trail of thoughts. So I recorded my presentation, and then I made it as a video. So if you give me your consent, I will share the screen with that video. Is that okay? And then
whichever is comfortable to you.
Yeah, it is just for 8 minutes. I will stick to 8 minutes, and then post that, however the discussion would go. I'm happy to be part of it. Yes.
Maybe before the presentation, why don't you talk a little more about yourself, your journey to whatever you're doing?
Yes. So I come from the domain, experience and expertise. So I have my PhD in the domains of stem cell research and commercialization from the Ottawa Health Research Institute, Canada. And then I was working as a research scientist for long at the University of North Carolina before I moved back to India with some intellectual property to my credit. So all I wanted was to translate the patents that I gathered in the course of my training and then the experience to the benefit of the patients in our country. So that has been my motivation. And then I founded this group, Transtel Biologics, and then have been running it for the past 9 years. So with some decent traction and success that I can speak of as I stand in front of you. So that is a very humble introduction of me. Yeah. Okay.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So
you have the rights. You have the rights. You can directly put.
Thank you. Hello there. I'm Subhadra Davida. I run Transcell Bio. So can you
can't see the video? We could hear it, but we can't see it. Can you just see? Can you click it?
Okay.
We could hear something, but
you can't see the screen with my presentation.
Yeah. Your basic screen is there. Computer screen is there, but not the video.
Okay. You just have to give me.
You just have to double click.
I know, yeah. Now? Hello there. I'm Subhadra Davida.
We can only hear it.
Biologics, a biotech entity that is into translating adult stem. Yeah. My apologies. I'm trying to.
Can you send the video, ma'am? We can try to run it here.
Okay. To your email?
To Mr. Sumnit, I will get it from him.
Yeah. I am.
And in the meantime, you can continue.
Yes.
Yeah, you please.
Kindly, yeah. I'm sending it in a few minutes. Something that I've just sent it. Can you?
Yeah. No. You can keep talking. You can say what were your perspective on how do you think you would gain, the country would gain, your sector would gain in that particular order, and whatever order you feel we will be able to better appreciate.
Right. So, as I said, Transcell Biologics, is an entity that has a few programs that are at discovery stage, and then there are few solutions that we have brought to the markets. So, for us, in fact, AI and data sciences, have been part and parcel of the very practice itself. So,
the screen, I think you'll have to come out. You close your screen so that somebody they can. Yeah.
Not to worry. I've just
yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So. What I was saying is it is not like artificial intelligence is not like a separate subject like that is brought to the field of biotechnology and life sciences that Transcell belongs to the particular space. So in each step of our very existence, starting from the laboratory work, and then in terms of the productization, in terms of validations and conducting certain clinical trials, and even launching the products or servicing, AI has been part and parcel of the very story and process. So it works where it has actually been gelling totally integrated in Transcell's practice that we have this credit of launching one next generation AI and ML embedded platform, which is a cruelty-free workstation, a solution to test the vaccine safety. So that is, we take it as the fame to our practice, and then the delivery that we've been able to bring to the market. So we have recently partnered with one IT and digital global leader, and then together we have co-developed this solution, and we are introducing and asking the industry to support this solution, which is like, propagated as a totally like, an alternative model to animal testing. So I have few slides made on that and thought like, a little more science behind and then the rational behind, where we have integrated the AI and then like, the research and productization angle to your kind attention, like so that you would appreciate. Yeah. So Sumnit, have you been able to access?
Yeah, they should right now. Is it over, Akram?
I am yet to receive the email. I'm just waiting for the email Sumnitji has sent. I think it is getting. It is yet to come here in my inbox.
Or we'll do one thing. We'll have the next speaker and later come again.
As you were.
No, just to ensure that you have full freedom when you're talking.
Very well.
Is it okay, Akram? Sumnit?
Yeah, I think we can run it the moment we receive it.
Yeah. I think we'll not lose time. We'll have our next speaker, and then so that we stick to the schedule. So thanks, Dr. Subhadra. But you are going to come again with the video and explanation. And we have the next speaker who is from Denmark, Mr. Thomas. He is the CEO of Clean Shield, a company which is working relentlessly to make the more greener portion for healthcare, agriculture, and many more things. And I would like Thomas to first say a few minutes about himself and his company, and what is it that he would like to add value to the European contribution, what way India can benefit and India can also contribute, and what way things will be for the future. Thomas, please.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's an honor to meet you all, and thank you for the speakers, and thank you for your time. Yeah, my name is Thomas Bormann. I am the founder and the president for Clean Shield Group, which is a Danish-based company developed in 2015. We put together science, nanoscience, and we devoted all our effort and energy on creating green solution for what we call this particular moment, what we've been brewing in decades by humans, by using chemical solution for agriculture, for healthcare, and etc. That means that we have been becoming more vulnerable as humans because of what we call multi-resistant bacteria, soil which is ruined, with chemicals from fertilizer for pests, chemical used for disinfection, which is obtained through noses from the toxic gas. So we were devoted our time with professors science in Denmark and Canada. So we discovered that the nanotechnology that we all are familiar with at this present time with the vaccine, how it works on, for example, Pfizer. With using nanotechnology, we can create things that is not visible, but is, not imaginable, but it is something that we can actually conquer many of the global challenge that we have today. So we devoted our time, and through 3 to 4 hours, years later, we discovered that we could actually go to market with our Clean Shield indoor coating, which is a titanium dioxide based mineral, which can be preventing a lot of the issues that we have today in cross-contamination risk in healthcare, hospitals. So we have the opportunity now to actually prevent a lot of this vulnerable citizens that we have around the world. All of this with the nanotechnology, we actually are using photocatalysator reaction, photosynthetic. So, everything is actually similar. It's not that far away or far from each other when we are talking about developing. So if you can play the video. That would be great.
Yeah, can you play the video, Akram?
Yeah, just one. Yeah.
Time for changes. To go green. United humankind around the globe. It is time for ACT to go hand in hand in the process of the environmental responsibilities, creating sustainability for rich and for poor and the increasing population. Imagine increasing productivity in a green way by giving the right to and the option for the world's farmer to go green, saving money and getting more crops. After years of science, at Clean Shield Group, we are proud to introduce our 100% green solution for agriculture sector, helping mankind by using nature to save the nature. We bring nature back on track. Join the environment and choose our natural tonic water to save the soil, crops, plants, human, by not using fertilizer and pesticides. Choose a green future with Clean Shield Group.
Thank you for sharing it. Can you hear me again?
Yeah, we can hear.
Perfect. So the meaning with this video is actually, this is something that we are devoting all our time on, is actually to create green solution, which can, not just one-on-one comparing two chemical solution, but actually conquered chemical solution. This is about creating an opportunity for the population in the world actually to have another choice than the one that they have today. What we have been discovering with the pandemic is the high risk we have by health people, young people going across and abroad in public transportation in public areas and containing the critical risk population. That means the elder ones, the sick ones. With our technology, we actually succeeded by using nanotechnology and making a transparent, permanent surface which can be provided in every kind of surface. And because of the photocatalysator reaction, we actually have the opportunity to expose and eliminate the virus, bacteria from the surface. That means that instead of what we have today, when you are disinfecting a normal area, which is a chemical reaction, is that you're protected for 1 to 2 minutes just while you're doing it, and then all the situation are building up by itself again. But ours is working by light. It will be provoked by light. That means that we are using all the oxygens that you see from living trees. When the light is hitting the trees, you create free radicals. This photocatalysator reaction is, creating this opportunity. And the same you can see in our mineral solution. It is, when you have one coated surface, it is actually the same as 6 square meters of tree. This is how much it actually create of free radicals. And that process is limited and reducing bacteria and virus growth. That means that when we're doing it in public transportation, which we are doing today as preventing in Czech Republic, Slovakia, in Colombia and Mexico. So we are represented in authorities around the world and taking care of public transportation, and we're taking care of healthcare, hospitals. For us, it's about giving a choice that not just in the preventing, but also for the environment. That means that instead of having a lot of waste on chemical solution, we have a permanent solution which can be preventing this for 1 year. And, without any human interference or without any human risk. That's our concern. For us, when we are talking in general on healthcare, we know that the pandemic to become a major player on it, we have to actually create a solution which no one else has and cover, not just some amounts or some areas. We are talking about larger areas like the public transportation. We're talking about taxis, we're talking about schools, you know, where we have the cross-contam risk, which is high. It is for us, this photocatalysator reaction is for us the founding of life. So when we conquered, you know, the formula for the nanotechnology, where we can create the photocatalysator reaction, we were privileged actually also to actually discover 5 different other of our product, which one you saw for agriculture, which can actually get rid of the fertilizer and pest. So for us, I think that it's necessary. We want to be on top of the world for many years from now. For humans, that means that we have to do things a little bit different that we've been doing for the last 100 years, meaning that we have to be careful about what we are using for the soil. We have to be careful what we need to be exposed for the toxins. We have to be aware of what we eat of pest, which has been what you call in preventing it to actually get old, the fruit. So we actually discovered, you know, a 100% fruit made fruit wash, which can refresh fruit for 3 to 4 times in a green way. So this is how our mindset is. And I'm so privileged and also obligated because I'm the president for, you know, really, I would say crazy people, because science are crazy. When they're starting it, you're saying, oh, that's never going to work. But it works. We have been doing United Nations project in Africa, also been in the presentation video in United Nations in Germany, because of our ability actually to create, you know, poor soil into green sauna. You know, it's about the next step that we are talking about preventing the COVID. We are talking about this kind of pandemic. The next pandemic is already upon us, but we are, you know, we have to get action on it. This is the hugest mankind effort. We have to be careful because now we have the climate change. It's a climate change in the warm, what is the result of CO2 increasement. And we have, you know, the indoor coating. If you put it outside, it oxygen, like, you know, is purifying the air with the CO2 reduction. 1 square meters of the coating outdoor is actually comparing with 6 square meters of forest. So now we actually have succeeded by having the option to make city into a forest just by spraying and coating the buildings. So my thoughts are, today we are in 20 different countries around abroad the world, and for sure the Indian areas is totally large. It's unadvantaged, or what you call undiscovered potential for many European companies, and also for many European governments. I know that our Prime Minister in Denmark just visited India last week in a promotion, and this is something that you know, our thought isn't to become rich on this. Our thought is actually to create a greener solution for the benefit of the world. So what we are seeking for with this is actually entrepreneur, pioneers, investors, companies who is very interested in bringing, you know, one of world's leadest scientists product developed in Canada and Denmark into India, and establish, you know, workplace, all the things that on their own. That means that Clean Shield Group isn't going to go into India. We're going it in with a local partner together with them, and they will expand. They will conquer India. They will actually develop factories. They will develop working places. You know, all the economic things in it, because this is how we're working, and this is our thoughts on it. So we are still working and developing. So what we have been devoting our time on and succeeded with today, our products are well approved as a biocide in the European Union, also in the Middle East. So it's not something that we, from what works on laboratory, does it work in real life? It does, and it works even better than what we saw at the lab. So we discover all new things every day, and this is a journey that I hopefully can get some interested in India on board on.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Welcome.
We fully welcome you in all with open heart, and we would like to see you as a budding unicorn or more. And plus, through India, you can capture. Of course, you use the word conquer India. We don't want anybody to conquer India. We want people to work with India and work with India to go to other places which are fully open from India. Thank you so much. And using nanotechnology and your field green is something which is fully welcome. Now let me call our first speaker. We'll come to Dr. Subhadra after the speaker, Mr. Rupam Das. He's an entrepreneur and he's also doing some unique work in artificial intelligence combined with patient care and plus many more. I would like, of course, Rupam Das to first say a few minutes about himself and the products and other services which he feels can do a great deal for India, Europe, and the world. Mr. Rupam Das, please.
Thank you, Dr. Shekhar. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for having me with you today. I would like to share a small story from my life. To start with, I barely managed to pass my biology in class 12. In the dissection lab, I got too much afraid by seeing the frog. I ran away with the frog. Until date, I consider one of the biggest achievement of my life is to somehow get that frog to a life. Out of its anesthesia, whatever, and saw it moving around. And I had no idea that I would be one day running a health tech company. Probably that's why my friends call me ironic, because somebody who could not almost pass biology is running a health tech company. Nonetheless, that's my background. In a nutshell, I'm just a student. I have been a student and I would prefer to remain as a student throughout the life. Now, before I start the talk, I would want to bring a very simple statistics to you. In the year 1947, when British Raj ended, our average life of Indian was 33 years, and today, in 2021, our average life of the Indian population is around 69 years. So, being an underdeveloped country and have been building the country after independence, the amount of work that our healthcare professionals and scientists have done over the last few decades have been immensely, revolutionary and praiseworthy. So I would like to start this talk by thanking all those great people who have taken Indian healthcare forward. Now, from the same talk, what interesting thing we understand is that India has succeeded in achieving a great deal of improvement in healthcare with very bare minimum investment in the sector, and we have been keep on blaming the government for a very long period of time. Now, to give you a number in perspective, India's healthcare budget right now, which is digital health mission, is about 5.1 billion. That is about 37,130 crores divided by 140 crore Indians in 365 days. It comes down to around 265 rupees annual healthcare cost per Indian. So we just have 265 rupees per year allocated to every Indian for the healthcare budget. Now, I run a company called Aculi Lab Private Limited, whose goal is to make the healthcare more affordable, available, and accountable. And we solve the problem of availability, by making the healthcare available, by making the healthcare affordable, less than 265 rupees a year to mass Indian population. And how we have done this is, if you look into the COVID numbers in the second wave, it was a very unfortunate time when most of us, we have lost a few people or the other that we have come to know. In fact, I've lost 2 of my HODs from my college, which was very difficult. So in the COVID, an average Indian has spent something between minimum 20,000 rupees to up to 10 lakh rupees for COVID treatment. Whereas we have served 1,500 patients in COVID at an average cost of 3,000 rupees with 0 mortality and only 2 hospitalizations and none of the patients requiring any oxygenation. So that's the contribution of Aculi Lab in COVID to set the context forward. That's called the affordability. Now, how do we make that affordable? We'll go to the next part of our company's work, which is the availability. Now, to understand the availability, let's look into one of the most interesting saga from our culture, that's Ramayana, right? When Ma Sita was crossing the boundary, Ravan basically came in the disguise of a beggar, and Sita Ma somehow could not recognize him, and she ended up paying by her life at a later stage. So most of the health diseases or most of the current situation of the healthcare can be explained by the simple condition of the Ramayana. Most of the diseases are hidden. Most of the diseases, they're long term, comes from things like inflammation, which are not recognized in time. And then thereafter, doctors come in the form of Jatayus and the Hanuman. But unfortunately, you can delay the consequences, but not deny the consequences. Now, so imagine if exactly the moment when Ravan was approaching Sita, if Sita Ma could have a opinion of Ram, or Ram could intervene right at that time. If he was available, if Ram was available, probably we would not have had to do such a great omen of our society. So now, how severe this problem of availability in healthcare is, let me put into perspective this with some numbers. Now, in India, there is only 1 doctor per 1,000 people. Sita Mata had too many people to support her, but unfortunately, we have for 1,000 Indians there is only 1 doctor. But that's not the problem. The main problem is that we have only 5 hospital beds, including of all the private, public, everything, for every 10,000 Indians. However, that's also not the biggest problem. There is a bigger problem. The bigger problem is that 27% of the Indian deaths every year, out of which 80% is from the urban sector, is caused by unavailability of the medical services when it was needed right at the time. So Indian death rate is about 7.1 deaths per 1,000 population per year. So to that death, it's about 99 lakh people who dies in India every year. And about 27 lakhs of them dies because they could not avail a medical service at the right time. Now, that is also not a very great concern, because it's a big country. 7.1 is relatively late death rate. Only 3.5% of this patient gets the actual life-saving allopathy doctor services. So only about 1 crore Indian who dies every year, only 3 lakh dies in front of a good doctor. So that's the condition. So we don't have the availability, and in COVID we know how was the situation when even Sonu Sood and everybody was tweeting in the Twitter because no beds were available, no doctors were available. Now, Aculi Lab solves this problem by making the healthcare available all the time to every corner of the country at obviously very less cost. And how we do it just exactly the way Paytm changed the way we bank, and Flipkart changed the way we shop. So Flipkart brought all the malls into a mobile, and Paytm brought all the banking services into a mobile, which led to a successful demonetization in 2016. After which we have a broad adaptation of the digital technology. Now, what Aculilabs has done, Aculilab turns your Android mobile phone into a diagnosis and consulting device, and you can take your complete health test at any time from any place, whether you are in the space, whether you are in the ship, you are in the train, and you can diagnose your condition, send your report back to our doctor, and get an immediate consulting. So now there are many platforms which connects a doctor with the patient, but they do not have the technology to diagnose the health of the patient. And how do we do that? We do it with a mobile technology, which we call LifeUs. LifeUs, we capture the capillary pulse from the mobile rear camera, and then we do a bunch of signal processing. Just to break it over here, I also failed in my digital signal processing lab in my college. So that's another irony. So we capture the signal, biosignal, and do a bunch of signal processing, and then we give you a detailed analysis of mind and body. Thomas is from Denmark. So Socrates back in 500 BC had suggested that observation, metabolic disorder, observation, mind, body, and metabolism, these four are the major pillar of the healthcare. So we've been using that principle of Socrates for the healthcare. So after we capture the biosignal, we provide 101 digital biomarkers, and then they are classified into mind, organ, body, illness, lifestyle, and emotions. And that's how we make the solution more available. Now, last part is the accountability, and I was very fascinated by Madhumita's talk of patient centricity. Aculilab is a company by the people, for the people, and to the people, and I end it with explaining how is it so. The main motto of the company is to provide the accountable healthcare. Now, what is meant by accountable healthcare? Now, let's look into some of the numbers in COVID. In COVID, the mortality rate in Indian hospitals was 13%. However, the average investment that a person made, and obviously not many got the insurance cover either, in COVID was about 3 to 5 lakhs. Now, out of all these 13% people who died in the hospitals, they paid on an average 2.5 lakh Indian rupees. So you are paying without any accountability. So you pay for the services, irrespective of whether you get anything out of that or not. That's just like Indian education system. You pay for engineering colleges when number of engineering seats is more than the number of jobs for the whole country that gets open every year, and you pay for the services, and the colleges doesn't have any accountability to offer you whatever you are serving. Now, in Aculilabs, we have made it a point that accountability is going to be the prime focus. We are going to try to heal our patient, not only treat our patient, we'll try to heal our patient. If you go to our Google Maps page and see some of the customers' review, you'll see 4.8 customer review with almost all the customers have, patients have come forward and presented their cases in detail. So there are 3 models that we work into with our patients: evidence, emotions, and of course, experiments, right? Dr. Subhadra says. So we bring a lot of evidence and education, of course. So we gather evidence through our mobile application, session by session variation in the body. We do a lot of experiments, we do a lot of research to find out what is going on over there in the body. And then we use basic science to first educate the patient about their health condition. Now, to give you a volume of what changes we have caused on a human level, on an average, every patient gets about 9 to 10 hours of time from our clinical team for understanding what is been going on with their health condition, which is rare these days. You go to a doctor and he writes you a medicine and that's done. So we take a lot of pride in terms of how much we invest our time and emotions with the patients, and how this has resulted in a great ecosystem is Lab is perhaps India's first company which has raised its angel investment round from the public. 108 investors, which includes my laundryman, my tea walas, and very basic people, from 10,000 rupees to 10 lakh rupees. Genuinely big investors. They have come forward and they have invested in Lab for our angel round. We have been currently serving both communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. Communicable disease mainly in HIV and tuberculosis, and non-communicable disease, hypertension and cardiovascular disease has been our main forte. And we have been working tremendously with the female health. That's in PCOS, which is again another major pandemic that's spreading, silent pandemic. And that's how we have brought science and technology and used the philosophy of the great philosophers like Socrates and great clinicians like Sushruta. We have combined those philosophies together, and we have provided something which India is good at. Just in India, you buy anything, you ask what is the mileage, kitna milega. So we have made it cost effective, we have made it available, and we have made it really accurate. Before we end, we have validated our product in all levels in over 50,000 subjects, which is unseen in the history of medical science by any startup or even any big companies. To give you a perspective, Apple Watch was validated only on 288 subjects. RT-PCR second level validation was done on 5,000 subjects, whereas we are validated on 50,000 subjects with a clinical grade accuracy of 95%. And I believe that's about it from me. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I would like to have some conversation going.
Thank you, Rupam. So nice to see a budding entrepreneur, and I hope you are also going to go global and make more people happy, more people satisfied, and more people to have a good life. And good life, not only unmedicated, like you're saying, unmedicated and happy life, because medicine should not be our barometer for health. Happiness should be our barometer for health.
Absolutely.
And how to make it less. Now, let me invite Dr. Subhadra to the video portion. Can you please, so that she can give her final word before I call Rakesh?
Hello there, I'm Subhadra Davida. I run Transcell Biologics, a biotech entity that is into translating adult stem cell technology and the progress into real-time applications. To bring the context of today's topic, advent and evolution of healthcare and emergence of AI as an interlocutor, please allow me to subclassify Transcell space as biotechnology, life sciences under healthcare as a segment. AI in biotech is known to play a crucial role in boosting innovation throughout the life cycle of a product or solution being developed. Some of the main applications of AI across the domain's value chain spans from research, preclinical discovery stage, till the product is in the markets. It is so ingrained in the process as the domain's work involves collecting biological samples from donors or patients, using lab equipment, acquiring data from the experiments conducted, analyzing data sets, compiling, productization, validations like preclinical, clinical, marketing, and servicing. So in each of these steps of the life cycle, AI has been an indispensable tool without much of an effort or thought given to its very application in our practice. To be specific in stem cell biology, various applications of AI include understanding the behavior of live cells that we handle in the labs, characterization of them using certain mathematical models, prediction of mortality risks associated with stem cell transplantations, etc. So there has been clear evidence and role of neural networks in stem cell technology biology, elucidating the concepts of machine learning and deep learning. That Transcell as a group as well took advantage of it in all its programs that are at discovery stages and also into the solutions developed that are intended for real-time applications. One of such classical verticals in the portfolio is Transtox Bio, that has the contemporary significance when it comes to the problem that it chose to address. Transtox Bio is all about human biological discard sourced stem cells, tissue-based in vitro systems developed as human surrogate models for testing biopharma candidates meant for human consumption. So the aspiration of this vertical is to be a safety efficacy testing as a solution provider to the global industry, while the mission here is to offer cruelty-free alternatives to animal-based testings. This vertical is built with a bandwidth to undertake testings of consumer goods, cosmetics, vaccines, and drugs as well. Talking about COVID-19 pandemic, which is a resultant of the most dreaded human coronavirus infection that has swept our lives, coronaviruses are known to be infecting nervous system, brain, and respiratory system. So any vaccine, which could be a structural mimic or a functional mimic of the coronavirus, developed to combat COVID infection, has the potential danger of causing diseases of nervous system, and this is what is defined as neurovirulence. So with this clinical information in hand on one side, and on the other side, recent news on FDA attaching warning of rare nerve syndrome to J&J vaccine, contaminants found in Moderna Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine batches in Japan, our determination to develop a system that can predict the neurovirulence risk associated with vaccines got its calling. So it's not just with COVID-19 vaccines, but there is a history to neurovirulence, the information of which is made available to general public at CDC portal. So the highlights happen to be like polio vaccine causing paralysis, swine flu vaccine causing Guillain-Barré syndrome in the vaccinated population, hepatitis B vaccine causing a progressive nerve disease, narcolepsy shown to be associated with the H1N1 influenza vaccine. There exists a WHO protocol, namely monkey neurovirulence test, that is in practice for the past 50 years or so to assess safety of vaccines meant for immunization. In fact, this is the most cruel, cumbersome, dangerous, outdated testing system known and practiced by the industry that involves sacrificing of about 120 monkeys per test following the protocol for 28 laborious days. Now, a few countries have banned chimp testing back into 2015 itself, and PETA, a people's organization known and insisting on ethical treatment of animals, in October 2020, insisted on ban on primates in laboratories, and in 2020 itself, during the peak of pandemic, Chinese wildlife ban freezes export of pest monkeys. So this piece of information and the development actually adds on to the stress of the traditional protocols for evaluating vaccine safeties. So Neurosafe is our first-in-class, prestigious, next-generation neurovirulence testing solution for vaccine safety that we have developed. It's a workstation solution that predicts neurovirulence risks associated with vaccine batches that are being produced. It's a non-animal rapid testing and prediction process that we have developed, encouraging the industry to adopt. It is an intelligent-driven, data-driven, cruelty-free approach that utilizes human-induced pluripotent stem cell technology and our collaborator-enabled digital solution predicting neurovirulence risks as a score. I would want to conclude by stating Neurosafe that we have developed is driven by robotic process automation, artificial intelligence, and proprietary operations and management systems, while the biggest value proposition here is protecting global healthy population from debilitating neurovirulence caused by vaccines. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Subhadra. So nice to see. Yes, stem cells are going to play a huge role. Stem cells are there to stay. And it is doing this, of course, it is yet to come in its full mature form. And people like your work would naturally bring it to a very good level. And I'm sure you would also grow from maybe a startup to a mature global company. Now, let me invite Mr. Rakesh, who is one of the builders for this particular series of program. He is in Slovakia. He represents the EU portion of this particular exercise of the series of conferences. And he has done immense work in this healthcare also. He runs an Ayurvedic hospital. He runs wellness clinic. At the same time, he's also doing a lot of work in high technology areas. I'm sure he may like to say about this program and also speak about his own experiences from healthcare, artificial intelligence. Rakesh, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sekhar. Good evening once again, everybody. Panel, this whole session has been a learning experience for myself. Everybody who is a speaker has shared their knowledge as well as their experience there. And it's a fantastic thing. I mean, I'm really impressed with each and everybody, and I would like to be in touch with each and everybody, learn more from them. Coming to the health and other things, and the seminar, what we have organized, Business and Beyond. Just a few things, a quick wrap on a very small way to precisely say it. Yes, yoga has taken a center stage, and Ayurveda is the next big thing happening everywhere. And it will grow much, much more bigger than what we even think and expect right now. Coming to the other things, there was a long back report done, official report from the EU side, that by year 2022, there will be the shortage of more than 2 million people in health services in European Union. And we know that India is the biggest supplier for the qualified and technical people when it comes to the medical systems, and as well as the medical people all around, whether it's the doctors, whether it's the surgeons, whether it's the nurses. India is the highest number of producers, as well as, of course, the highest number of people which are being sent and exported from India. Coming to when we talk about the business and the pharma sector itself, yes, India is one of the largest manufacturer of the medicines in the world, and one of the cheapest also. Why cheapest? Because we are mostly focused on the generic. A lot of R&D has been done nowadays, yes, for the new products to be coming in. But generic wise, we are number one in the world, and nobody is nearby to us also. As far as EU is concerned, a lot of new innovations and new things are coming up. Just this is because of many other things, not just only the lack of staff, but a lot of new developments are coming. Like Thomas said that his liquid or his disinfects also generates the oxygen as soon as it comes into the touch with the photosynthesis or with the light. That itself is a big thing, because what we are struggling in India with the pollution and other problems, this can be the only solution that we can look at right now. And whether it's an AI system, what Mr. Rupam said, or whether the stem cell, what Ma'am Davida said, or Madhumita on her experience with the sales, each and every thought is valuable, each and every effort counts. And I would like to personally thank each and everybody from my side. Thank you, Dr. Shekhar. Thank you, Sumit, and thank you, Akram, for organizing this show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think Sumit, you can take over here. Sumit. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes, I would like to share my note of thanks to all our speakers, our panelists, for taking out your precious time, that too right in the middle of the week, and sharing your thoughts. So, and this was very insightful. And I think going ahead post this seminar, we shall, as from a chamber, as our organization, we shall look to do and create some value, take away some value and create some more value from your talks, as well as try to look forward for some kind of collaborative efforts in the upcoming times to come in some way or the other, whether it is to do with the product or to, set some foot in the Europe or in other foreign and emerging markets. So thank you so much. Thank you, Madhumita ma'am. Thank you, Rupam. Thank you, Ms. Davida. And thank you, Mr. Thomas, last and not the least, for taking out your time. And thank you. Over to you, Dr. Shekhar.
Yeah. Now, Akram, would you like to have the concluding?
Thank you so much, Dr. Shekhar, for again, and Rakesh sir, Sumit ji, for excellently organizing this program. Policy Times is always grateful for the kind of effort that we are doing. I think what the Indian Chamber of Culture and Commerce is doing is an exceptional work, and this is building to a bigger one, which we will do, which Sumit ji is planning. And I think each of these programs is a stepping stone towards achieving a much bigger goal, and we together can achieve it. So by thanking to all our honorable speakers, I announce the end of today's program.
Thank you so much. All right. Are we off?